this season, but still 1-4 against Zerg. That does not bode well against someone like Rogue.
I have to say this guy, though, he is very, very good, as his song indicates. I was really critical of his play, even all the way back when he was on Fnatic. But he's really actually coming to his all. I feel like he has surprised a lot of people with some of his ZVZ wins as well, and it's all up to him now. There's so much pressure on him. Whereas now for Rogue's like, well, I mean, I did get top 8 at Star League.
Yeah.
I did get out of the round of 16 at GSL. I mean, also, if I lose, we have an ace match, and even if my team loses, we can't go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he's like, no pressure.
No pressure. Just play a solid ZVZ. So like ZVZ comes down to ultra preparation. It's about how you perform, how the build orders match up. Very volatile matchup, but it's a very standard matchup at this point. Very figured out.
It's pretty muta-centric at this point in Korea. If we go past the baneling phase, depending on how aggressive players want to get.
And if it gets past the muta phase, it's usually Rogue versus Rogue. So everything's kind of figured out. It's not really a huge mix-up. There is build order wins for sure. So maybe we're going to see Rogue play a little bit safer because he should be thinking to himself, I should beat this guy in a macro game.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's go into our 4th game. Can DeParture tie it up? Let's find out. To the bottom right in red. So much pressure on this player. It's DeParture.
Top left for JIN, we do have Rogue. Looking to close things out. Knocking MVP out of the playoffs.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't want to oversimplify this, but if I were in Rogue's position, I would almost try to think of this as just like, I hit a Zerg player on the ladder, a barcode. Just try to play it safe, careful, standard, because you know, I am most likely the better player against this, you know, somewhat, I would say, just recently successful Zerg. And, you know, there's no pressure on me. Just play this. Just try to win it. Obviously, it'd be great to close things out. But there's a lot of different things to think about if we go to that ace match as well. Who's going to play for MVP? Is Lucera going to play off of a, you know, a bit of a rocky start? Are we going to see Maru actually come out? You know, there's a lot of different things to consider. SOS is gone, not available.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I do still pretty much favor JIN, especially if it's going to be on Iron Fortress. That certainly is going to favor, for instance, Rogue if he needs to. I mean, I doubt we're going to see Gumiho on that map. It's going to be a lot harder to go for mech on that kind of map as well. You never know with these things. We do see the occasional mech player go out in that kind of map.
No. Just a sign there for DeParture. Some DeParture fighting.
Yep. This is it, man. It's their last chance for the year. And very standard, safe builds from both players.
Yeah. I feel like Rogue is really just playing this like a ladder game, whereas DeParture kind of has to play pool first because he knows that if he just gets cheesed out, it's all over.
That's it. Yeah. So both of them are very concerned about this game.
I would almost say, like, of all matchups to be in this stressful situation like this, ZVZ is probably the worst.
Because it can just be over in a second. If you choose the wrong build, you get all in.
You mess up your lane control, get busted by a baneling or something.
Yeah.
You lose like 12 lanes to a bane.
You lose a harassment war. It's like, well, you shouldn't really lose here, but you can. It's so volatile.
There's just so much mind games that go into it as well. Like so much of a balance of droning and making roaches essentially is how, I guess, at the very simplest form of thinking about this matchup ends up being. We've seen a lot of players really experimenting with Infestors versus the Mutas. We saw Armani try versus Lenok, nearly successful. I mean, he looked like he really had a good shot at it. And then Rogue versus Sue in Game 3 was able to win against Sue. Sue kind of looked like a deer in the headlights once the Infestor started coming out. He didn't look like he knew what to do.
Yeah, it was usually a timing, like if you are going for that Muta style and you do have a big follow-up, the Infestors get out in time and there's an army big enough to kind of back them. You can just lose the game from there, but the composition gets so much more stronger, so much more cost-effective as well.
Yeah. It's usually the player who's losing the game has to go for Infestors and kind of pray and hope that they can get some good fungals and set up some good engagements.
It's kind of is like the natural sort of reaction to a Muta opening, because like it's like, okay, I can't really leave the base. I can't invest in Hydras because they can go Mutaling Bane. So it's like this weird sort of transitional period. It's like, well, I have to get to Infestors and then make Hydras, and then I have this composition that can beat Muter, Ling Bane very, very easily.
It's
but
like
am I too far behind in economy at that point? Because Muters will contain you.
Absolutely. It's almost exactly like Brood War. It's like, can I afford, finally I get Defilers out, and can I get like the right Plague on the Mutas? Is that even going to happen? Or can I get the Queen in Snare? Like, can I slow them to try to do this? It's very difficult. It's very expensive, and you're so desperate, and you're like barely trying to hold on to your bases. There's so many speedlings on the ground. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Those Brood Wars EVZs, man. It's like all Mutas all day long. You don't really get to see it go beyond that. Just so funny, but I do miss those days as well. They were interesting sort of matches. I also miss the Mutaverse Muta Wars in this game. It kind of transitioned in a big way when that Spore buff came in. They're not viable if the bases are up and running.
Yeah. I think my first televised match I ever saw in Korea was Zero versus Jadong as EBZ at NBC Game Studios. It's always been like a really cool matchup for me, and that game was like really special.
It's stressful, man. It's a stressful matchup as well.
Yeah. Well, these two players are playing insanely safe. Safety Banes, both players going to add a lair in just a second. We already see the lair now coming up for DeParture first.
Yep, he's certainly going for Mutas beyond this. 3 extractors after the lair. Big scout, though, from Rogue. He's going to see everything he needs to see.
They both scout, and so let's see what Rogue is going to do here, because he sees the lair and he doesn't have his own, and DeParture knows that, so he's going to add a third base.
That's so smart. The biggest reaction you want to see against 2-base Mutas like this is get down to third base as soon as possible, get the creep spread out so you have spores ready by the time they're out.
Harassing those morphing banelings. Another thing that is scary for the player who scouts no lair, in this case DeParture scouting no lair, is what if he's trying to hit me with a roach timing? I may need to spine up. It's really important to get a scout on that third base now, which he actually has not been able to do. The Queens are even pushing his Overlord away, so he doesn't know. Lings are going to make it into the main base here again, though. He sees the lair, but he doesn't know how far along it is.
And, this number of Queens is very healthy for Rogue so far. The more he gets out, the safer he's going to be against Ling Muta when they do come. And it's going to give him the anti-air he needs to survive until Infestors as well.
See, in this case, he was scared that it was going to be roaches. He adds several spine crawlers, and then actually decides to cancel them. So it's a stressful time when you can't actually confirm that third base. There's Queens pushing. Now he's going to send a huge group of Lings in as he realizes what's actually going on.
Now, this could do something. Banelings aren't ready yet, but he isn't going to go for a surround. 2 Banelings at the front, more morphing at the back, actually. And he should have enough Banelings to kind of cover both natural and third base now.
+1 on the way, as well as a few more Overlords. He's actually supply blocked currently. This is going to end up being a pretty interesting game. If he can hold on with those Mutas, obviously it's going to be a tough game for Rogue, but he could hit just before. Like, this is a really close timing that he's trying to lock into here, essentially.
Yeah, looking at where it is right now, I certainly favor Rogue, though, because he has got that third base up. He's going to mine gas in just a sec as well. So his transitions, his tech, everything he needs is up and running, and all he has to do from here is make the right units.
I feel like he should be able to get a ton of damage done with the +1, the roach speed. Everything is lining up perfectly for him.
Even if he doesn't want to, though, like, it doesn't even matter, because when you have that, you're completely robust against any sort of Ling attacks. You aren't going to take any damage. You have the advantage in roach fights as well, because obviously DeParture, investing in Mutas, everything else is so much later.
Only now adding the spores, waiting until the last possible second. He knows this timing very well. He knows he didn't need them until basically right now, as the first Mutas are on the way, 8 of them. And a few Banes come out here as well, but they're not supported, so he's going to actually have some poor trades here. Actually 1 for 1 and 2 for 1. Pretty bad. Yeah,
that is not good at all, and that's all you need. He's completely defended against this. These extra Lings coming could be a problem, though. He's got to make sure he has at least a few roaches out, making 9 at a time right now.
He also has 6 Banes, and they're all at the third base, basically. Well, actually, I take it back. It looks like only 3 of them over there, but 3 at the main, 3 at the natural. Going to be able to defend this pretty well. I mean, no Ling counterattacks are going to find any damage. The Spore placement is great. He's going to target down these Banes, which makes his Lings stronger, but he's got enough roaches out with +1 that I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Yeah, he's pretty much got to deflect these Mutas for now. He's going to lose a couple of Overlords for it, maybe not even that.
Yeah, just 1.
Wow. And from there, Infestation Pit about to finish roaches. Enough in number to deflect anything, and I think it's going to be just a huge roach follow-up for DeParture. He's going to go for 1 big attack.
Oh, man, these Banes are ready to defend. He needs more than 1 hit. The Muta follow-up could be good, but the Mutas are all the way over here.
This is actually looking pretty scary for DeParture. DeParture's going to have to really catch out Rogue when he goes for that attack. The Rogue's already making nothing but roaches. He's like almost expecting it to be coming because the mutant number has stayed the same for this long.
Yeah, it's just normally when you see Mutalisk be dominant versus a player who goes in faster, it's like the Muta player also had the third base gas up first, and they did a ton of damage, whereas this has basically done nothing. This a follow-up attack just looks weak. There's so many queens with transfuses. He's got a great roach count. And he's got the defender's advantage.
He's got supply advantage right now. Roach numbers is 3 more roaches for DeParture, but is that going to be enough at this point?
Well, he's fighting right now with a few Lings supporting. Baneling coming in, doesn't get the best hit. The Mutas are not supporting this fight, though. If they were supporting, this might be an easier time, even with the Spore Caller here. This looks like it's just going to get defended.
Yeah, it should. Defender's advantage is such a huge thing in ZVZ, and it's going to get closed out. DeParture, he's going to have to move back and maybe even start droning that third base. Now Infestors are out. It's going to be even worse next time he tries to engage.
Yeah. He even backed off when he saw the Infestors, even though he didn't have enough energy. Cool move there.
Yeah, to be honest,
Rogue.
As a Zerg player looking at this, you see the Infestors after your Roach attack gets deflected. You almost feel like you've lost the game. I mean, you're going to need the most magical concave and try not take like critical fungals.
Well, he is trying to harass this Extractor here, but there's so many transfuses, I don't think he's going to get it. No way.
With this many queens. Look at this. He's actually going to get a nice concave on the third base here, but now he's dealing with fungals.
Good dodge on the first one, only costing him a roach. 4 roaches are actually going to try to come in here and support the harass as well. He's cleaning up that spore. I mean, he is multitasking insanely well. It's just a numbers game that he can't win right now, but you know, if he can get that base droned up and get the additional upgrades, yeah. He's not out of this yet. I mean, he's in a really terrible spot, but he might be able to fight his way back through.
Well, +2 is out for Rogue at this point, too. Rogue could even look for a counter attack. He's got such an advantage in terms of roach upgrades, which makes a big deal, as well as those fungals. I mean, the damage is there. It's just about having enough anti-air for the mutas, though there's not many mutas left anyway. And it just looks like he's going to wait for Hydras there with that Hydra Den finishing up.
Yeah, fourth base for a while going to be pretty out of the question for these two players. It's all about the roach control, the engages, which is why these little high grounds, these little plateaus are so important, because even with a roach advantage, it's tough to attack up into this. Looks like he's going to let it go, though.
Yeah, with this kind of upgrade advantage, 2-1 to 1-0, you are so confident. Look at this. He's actually just going to go straight for the fight.
He moved Commander for quite a long time, but he still might have, with that upgrade advantage, enough to push through. This is actually going to be a close fight. I think he's actually just slightly doesn't have enough roaches here with a few reinforcements. He should be pushed back.
Yeah, I think DeParture should push him back with a Remax, but this is actually doing some really cost-efficient damage. It's actually Hydra's coming out. This might force him back, or maybe he just wants to trade it out.
I think it's still a decent trade for Rogue.
Yeah, it was certainly good for Rogue. With that kind of advantage and upgrades, you're always going to do the damage.
This counterattack, though, with his Mutalisk, he will see the Infestors on the high ground and back off.
I mean, look at that army. Look how pitiful that army is for DeParture right now. He has to get back. Those Hydras don't have speed.
All these queens with a ton of transfuse energy as well. We saw DeParture try to use his queens to help defend, but he was so slow, he was so late. Even seeing now contaminations on these hatcheries to slow down those injects. Okay, he's got a good concave here. This is a scary fight to take. There's a lot of Hydras, but once he has the queens up with this and a few fungals, I mean, Hydras can't outlast that kind of AoE damage. No, look at this. Several caught already.
Oh, man. It's going to even up the supplies at the very least, and these mutas are going to get targeted down. It's just about waiting for those roaches and queens to get in position before he goes for the fight. This will be like one big last stand for DeParture. He's going to let him down the ramp, but he's going to have a nice concave between the third and natural.
Those 6 Hydras are the only Hydras he has. If he had, you could transform 5 more roaches into Hydras and have a good position. He might have a chance here, but this is going to be such a tough fight to take.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. He's going to take it. There go the fungals, actually hitting almost the entire arm, and he's got more chained after that. Look at that roach on the right side without being able to move, not even able to fire. Down comes some infested Terrans as well. Hydras, though, still alive.
Still alive, doing a lot of damage, but I think there's just simply too many roaches for Rogue at this point.
Yeah, and the infested Terrans doing that extra damage, pushing down those roaches. Now he can just push his way through the middle. Even with his concave, even with Hydras, look at all those reinforcements.
Yeah.
And the Queens just give him so much sustain in this fight with the transfuses.
Big stream of roaches still coming across the map here. At the very least, he's going to trade out very cost efficiently once again. Look at the supply difference right now. We actually aren't even seeing DeParture remake his units right now. Look at that, his bank he has.
Yeah, it looks like he had no larva, possibly because of all those contaminates.
Contaminates as well as a lack of
injects that he's hitting.
It seems that way. Kind of unfortunate way to end things out here.
Well, Rogue knows his game's over. He adds a fourth base just for safety, but looks like this one is going to end here for MVP. Rogue will take the win. 3-1 score for Jin Air Green Wings. They do win that final match. Now, if you look at where MVP is. I believe this does mean they cannot make it unless very specific scenarios occur with other teams tying things up with 3-4, but it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I think they might have just...
They also have a negative indicator with this as well.
Yeah, that really is not looking good at all for MVP. I think they're essentially out at this point unless something dramatic happens that...
We'll tell you guys tomorrow when we broadcast tomorrow. We'll have all the exact info about what has to happen specifically for each one. There's too many scenarios to consider with tomorrow's matches as well. That's why we're not getting super in-depth on this. But a win here for JR to close out the regular season before we go to that grand postseason. A nice way to end things. Maru does not play. Does not need to play. Does not have to worry about his wrists.
Yeah, it's a good thing to see some of the players that don't get much play time from Jin Air do well with Trap and Symbol, especially Symbol. Seeing him only 2 times this season, now comes out and gets a win over someone like Blaze. That's impressive.
That's pretty impressive, man. Gumiho played insanely well in that TVT, but he's not able to carry. I feel like Losira's loss on Echo was the biggest thing to talk about in this series. Like, that means that we don't go to an ace match, and he really he played pretty bad. It was an off game.
Very, not the best kind of strategy. Not at all, actually.
Well, there you have it. Jin Air Green Wings will finish with a 3-4 score. MVP the same, putting them on the exact same match score. MVP though with a negative indicator. I believe a -2 indicator to finish things off now. And our next matchup, really important for Spinner to get a good score here. If they win, especially if they win with a 3-0, they'll secure their first playoff since they were Startail when they had that crazy debacle with the snowstorm at the beginning of the season.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's actually a big thing.
If you look at some of Spinner's players like Jakshi and Bomber, they're looking pretty weak in recent times. But if you look at Prime's lineup, I mean, what are you going to say?
Well, Keen's the one shot they have at a win, I think. Leonok and Curious should be able to close this out. Bomber as well. We'll see what happens, but I think it's pretty heavily favored in Spenu.
Well, we're going to watch it all unfold, guys, after we take a 10-minute break. We'll see you then.